Right, here's the one of the glass panels models that we're using to build up our frontage with. So I'll just disassemble this so you can see what it's made of, and then we'll create it. So I'll just move this object out of the way, and move this one up here. Okay, so it's effectively 3 components. Let's give it a shade so you can see what's going on. Okay, we've got 2 pieces of glass, and these have been holed in the corners. We've got a hole position that suits the connectors, and then we've got a kind of a fairly simple frame here, made up of two solids just fused together, and this represents the mastic jointing around the double glazed panel. So we're putting a reasonable amount of detail into this. You know, adding the holings here makes the model considerably bigger. When you cut a circular shape out of another object, what we can't see is the triangulation that's going to go on here. There's thousands and thousands of triangles end up getting generated instead of just a simple plain surface. So usually when I'm advising students, I say, you know, keep it simple, just use a single plane for glass. But in a model where you're getting very close to the construction, you do need more detail. So for this one, we're going not absolutely, we're not producing everything, but we're producing a lot more detail than I normally would. So let's build this up from scratch, and you can see how it goes together. Okay, what we've got here. So I've got a layer for glass. Let's use that, and I'm going to start the shape at 0, 0, and the base point for most models is 0, 0. If we just check, we did this with the other component. So the base command, you can see here, is 0, 0. Okay, so if we build our component around 0, 0, or centered on it, or coming away from it, that becomes the control point for the model. So let's draw a rectangle. Okay, and we'll start at 0, 0, 0. Got that wrong. Let's go again. Let's go for a rec. And we want to start first corner 0, 0, 0. That's better. And the glazing on this building is in a 2 meter by 2 meter module. Okay, that doesn't mean the piece of glass is 2 meters by 2 meters though. Okay, because it needs to be able to be jointed onto the next piece of glass, and usually that happens at a mastic joint that runs between them. So we'll go at 2000, comma 2000. Okay, so that sets the corner furthest away, 2 meters that way, 2 meters this way. Okay, so we'll bring this in by 10 millimeters. So we'll end up having a visible 20 millimeter mastic joint. Okay, that's quite big, but you know, in the size of a 2 meter panel, it's really not that much. So it keeps the numbers nice and round as well. So if we come in by 10 millimeters, okay, and then another 10, okay, and then bizarrely, okay, we want to go back 10, okay, so we'll end up with 2 rectangles, 2 squares at this point, but 1 each in these. Okay, now we're going to do all our extrusions down the way for this, okay, so that the front bottom corner of the panel becomes the setting out point. It's not going to be centered on the glass, it's going to be the front bottom corner. Okay, so we'll extrude the first 2 items, enter, and we're going -30, enter. Okay, now subtract the inner one from the outer one. So subtract, take the outer one first, enter, take the inner one, enter. So we've got a thin frame running all the way around there. If I shade it, you can see what we've got. Okay, back to 2D wireframe. Okay, we've still got 2 squares here. One of them is lost kind of in the middle of here, so we're we're going to push these two downwards by 10 millimeters and then basically do the same job but with an extrusion depth of just 10 millimeters. So we'll move them first, so it's M, return, grab through here, hold shift and take away the outer solid. Okay, so you can see there's two objects still lit up. Enter. Base point can be anywhere. I've got ortho on. I'm setting my direction, which is -Z. I'm going down 10 millimeters. Okay, now extrude those two. Enter. And we're going -10. Okay, subtract the inner one from the outer one. So this is the outer one. Enter. Take the inner one. Enter. If we shade that, you can see we should have like a step in the frame. Okay, so it's 10 mil, 10 mil, 10 mil underneath. You could join these together. There will be no problem doing that. Just keeps them kind of united, and if we look at a 2D wireframe, it does show you that it kind of merges the two together. Okay, put that item onto the mastic layer. Okay, and now we need our sheets of glass. So these are a bit easier to construct. We'll only need to construct one and then we can copy it downwards. So it's another rectangle. Just fill in on top of the frame there. Okay, so it's going to be mastic that's visible, then glass. Okay, this is a straight extrusion. So extrude, pick the shape, enter, and take it down to 10 millimeters. Okay, so it should look like a piece of glass with this brown mastic around the outside. From underneath, we've only got one piece of glass in at the moment, but what we'll do is cut the holes in this first and then copy it down. Where do we cut the holes? Okay, and how many holes do we cut? Okay, the piece of glass that's next to the ground, if this were the ground line here and if this glass was upright, you wouldn't have holes in the glass next to the ground, but you would have them at the top. So there needs to be two variants of this panel, one with 2 holes and one with 4 holes. Right, like I say, where did the holes go? So let's drop the 2D information into here from the previous drawing. Okay, so place that in the corner there. I can see that this is where the hole should go. Okay, let's just trace over that so that we can dump the 2D stuff straight away. So we want a circle centered on that circle, and it wants to be the same radius as that. If I don't know the radius, I can use the quadrant object snap, and that will pick up on the 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock positions. Okay, this has done its job. That's all I needed it for, just to know the position of that circle. Okay, if we extrude that to the depth of the piece of glass. Okay, and then let's say we're making the middle panel here. We need 4 holes. So we can mirror these using the midpoint. Okay, mirror again using a midpoint on this side. Ortho's on, so the holes are ending up in the right place. Then it's just a case of subtracting from the main plane of glass, enter, pick the 4. Oh, I've lost my 2 circles, I better do the mirror again. I must have forgotten to accept the final part of the mirror command. Erase the source object, no, press enter. Okay, done that a few times today. So we're subtracting from the main piece of glass, take our 4 mini cylinders, enter. Everything looks the same, but we should have cool looking holes through these now. Dead simple. Okay, and then to get the right number of kind of refractions and reflections through the glass, we will copy this plane of glass down, CP, return, pick the sheet of glass, and return from endpoint to endpoint. Okay, so the bolt fixing goes through here. In reality, this would be sleeved with more mastic or some kind of neoprene kind of cylindrical gasket, just to try and maintain the kind of weather tightness inside here. So all this is done in a factory way before it gets to the building site. You can't drill glass on site, you just destroy the whole lot. Okay, so it's been modelled effectively flat on the ground. When we go into the main model, we flip the UCS up to the front, and then you bring in your components. Okay, so that's the second other major component modelled up and ready to use.